Hey students, how are you? I just wanted to say hello to you and see you and connect. For most of the video, you're not going to actually see me. I'm just going to have the camera concentrating on what I'm doing. I just want to say hello. Feels like we've been home forever, but I'm making the best of it. Doing a lot of cooking, doing a lot of baking. I have both my kids at home. I'm hoping that you guys are making the best of it as well. I'm going to be setting up some Google Meet time soon, so I'd love for you guys to just kind of pop in and say hello. I'm most likely going to do it during my office hours. So I just wanted to see you, wanted you to see me on camera and say hello. I hope you're going to enjoy these videos. This is new to me. I am enjoying it. So hope you guys are all doing well, and hope you like the videos. If you have the ingredients at home, give it a try and send me a photo. Okay? Talk soon. Hi guys. I am going to make a single pie crust today. You should all have the recipe. I have it posted right over here. We're going to be using 5 ingredients today. I'm adding just a little bit of sugar to add that little extra sweetener today. So we're going to be using flour, salt, sugar, shortening, which is our fat, and then some ice water. So I have all my ingredients over here on my right, and I already have everything measured out for our mise en place, and I'll go over that in just a moment. Let's talk about equipment. So we're going to need 1 large mixing bowl. That's where we're going to start our mixing and make our dough. Also for tools and small equipment, today we're going to need a rolling pin. I have my toolkit all set up with my dry and liquid measuring cup in the event that I need it, extra fork and the other utensils that we use in the classroom. We're going to need a pastry blender today, and then you're going to need a pie tin. You can also use a store-bought aluminum pie tins. This is actually a ready-made graham cracker crust. I'm thinking about putting the chocolate pudding in this and making the pumpkin pie and putting it into the pie crust that I make today. But I have this out just for reference, because I do not have this size. So this is a 9-inch pie crust tin, and this one's a little bigger, it's 10. So the recipe that I'm giving you is for a 9-inch. I don't have that size available today, so I'm gonna do the best that I can to fit it into this pan. I did one yesterday. It ran a little bit short. I'm hoping that we'll see what happens today. Okay, so that's everything that we're going to use today. So let's get started. We need 1 1/4 cup of flour. So I have that measured up. Here's my 1 cup. Here's my 1/4, and then I have a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I have 1 teaspoon of sugar. I have mise en place, a 1/3 cup of shortening. The shortening's cold, so I'm going to get this shortening back in the refrigerator in the event that I'm going to use that again later today. And my ice water. So I want to say something about the ice water. The other recipe that I made was for double pie crust. We needed 2 pie crust rounds to make the apple tarts. This is the same recipe, except it's cut in half. Okay, so we're making a single pie crust. So if you were to take that double pie crust, take all the ingredients and cut them in half, you would have this single pie crust recipe. What's new today is that when we're done making the dough, we're going to roll it out and then we're going to transfer it to a pie tin. So you haven't seen that part yet. So that's new to you today. Excuse me. Okay, so what else do I want to say? For the water, we want that to be nice and cold, so I've added some ice cubes over here. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. So you want to get your water in the refrigerator ahead of time, so it's nice and cold, and then I added some ice cubes. We're only going to use about 5 tablespoons, maybe a little bit more. We used 8 tablespoons to make the double pie crust. So I just put water in here. Obviously this is more than a cup. This is going to be nice and cold, and what we're going to do is just take 1 tablespoon at a time. So let's get started. We're going to combine first our flour. So here's our 1 cup, and then here's our 1/4, And then we have our little bit of our sugar. And we have a little bit of our salt. I love these little prep cups, aren't they awesome? I got these in Maine, in Portland, Maine, last year when we went to go visit my daughter while she was there visiting a friend. Greatest little shops in Portland, Maine. Okay, now we have those dry ingredients in here, and we're just going to mix that. I'm using my wooden spoon that I have in my toolkit. Again, if we do a nice figure 8, that allows us to evenly disperse all of the ingredients. Okay. Next up, we're going to take half of the fat. We're using shortening today, so I'm taking half of this, and we're going to cut it in. Okay. We're going to cut it in using our pastry blender. Basically, so you've learned a lot about pastry at this point, and I also want to mention that this is our last recipe. We're going to be moving on out of our pastry unit to cakes and cookies. I'm not sure which one I want to do first. I think we're going to do cakes first, and then we'll make whoopie pies, and then we'll do our cookie unit. And I'm going to make so many different types of cookies with you. And I hope you'll be able to join in. Maybe it'll get a little bit easier now going forward as we're starting to open things up. You know, we're getting to the store and see if, you know, what's available at the stores, and you can get what you need to maybe make some of these recipes with me. But they're not mandatory, okay? I can't expect you to be able to make them. But if you can give it a try, that would be great. So I'm cutting in half, right? So cutting in the half, and we want to continue to do this till the mixture resembles small peas. Yes, I'm still using my this tool to level, because I can't find my other straight edge, but this is a nice straight edge. This is actually for frosting cake, cupcakes, but it's doing the trick. All right, let's add in the rest of the fat. Kind of speed this up a little bit. Maybe I'll have my son, because my son helps me put these clips together. Maybe I'll have him speed this part up, because now this is the third time you're seeing this. You saw this technique using the double pie crust. Hopefully you all watched the video today. Actually, she made it in the food processor though, so it's a little different. But you know what needs to happen here. We need to get the fat in here until it resembles the size of peas. Okay, so let's work this in. Oh, actually, it's more than 3 times. You also made this dough before we left school. You made a soft dough. This is a stiff dough, but you made a soft dough when you made your Southern biscuits. So you did get to apply this technique at school, which is great. So today's cold day. It feels like 25. I think it's about 45. I just went out to get the mail a little while ago, and my goodness, it's so cold. So they say that cold days are better for pie making than warm days. This has to do with the air quality and the humidity, but there are many skeptics who say, I'm not buying into that. They say that when it's warmer, the dough, or I should say the flour, absorbs some of the moisture. So you shouldn't add as much water, so you have to be careful. Sometimes you end up adding too much water and your dough comes out really sticky. I think what really happens is that when it's warm out, like over 73 degrees, your ingredients start to melt. You know, they're warm, and what happens is that adds more liquid to your mixture and makes your dough sticky. And it's because it's the ingredient itself that added the liquid, because it started to melt. Okay, I think we're in good shape. Okay, here we go. We cut in the remaining shortening. Now we're going to start to sprinkle. I'm going to use my tablespoon right over here from my toolkit, and we're going to do one tablespoon at a time, and you want to sprinkle it all around. Okay, I'm going to move my bowl over here to the right because I don't want to get water all over my counter because eventually we're going to have to put flour down. Oh, that's one thing that I missed. Going back to our mise en place, one thing that's not on the recipe is that extra quarter cup of flour. You're going to need that to flour your counter and to flour your rolling pin. Tool to use now is your fork. All right, so let's start making the dough. So this is a part that's going to take a little bit of time. Okay, we want to, it's actually, I enjoy doing it. It's therapeutic, it's relaxing. Love making a pie crust from scratch. This is a part of the video that you might want to speed through a little bit because, you know, this is 1 tablespoon. I'm making sure it's all spread evenly as best I can, cleaning my fork, and then I'm going to add another, and this is going to take a little bit of time. Here comes another one. Okay, there's number 2. I asked you an exit question for today after watching the video from Joy of Baking, and she made the pie crust in a food processor. I haven't done that in a while. I usually make my pie crust by hand when I make it. I don't do this often. I mean, I have had a lot of time to bake with being at home, don't get me wrong, but generally when I'm driving to school every day, you know, have my kids around, it's busy. I don't have a lot of time to make pie crust. I usually just make the pies for the big holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas. Okay. I have my rings off. I do my watch on, but it's pushed back. Obviously started with a clean counter, cleaning things all day long with this pandemic. Okay, there we go. So I was just talking about the exit question. I asked you about how do you know when to stop adding water, right? And we're not there yet. Right? You should be able to bring it together in between your thumb and your index finger, and it holds together. And I can just tell just by looking at it, it's still quite dry. That might need to add more than 5 today. You just, you know, there's a lot of different factors. I may have picked up a little bit too much flour in the way that I measured. You know, different ingredients absorb different amounts of humidity, which today it's very dry. This is, I'm seeing is very dry, more so than yesterday. When she started out in the food processor, she started out with 1/4 cup. How many tablespoons in 1/4 cup? That would be 4. She started out right away with 4 tablespoons. So she's also making a double batch. And then she added to it. I think she probably did about 8 tablespoons. That's about what I did the last time you saw a video from me. All right, it's starting to come together, but you can tell it's still a little crumbly. So we're going to need some more water. Okay, so we're doing a little extra water today, really dry. Okay, and this should do it. And keeping everything over here to the side. So the winner of the question that I asked all 3 classes was the chocolate cream pie, or we can also call it a chocolate pudding pie, because I'm going to do the very simple version and use the chocolate jello pudding mix. It's just as delicious. Very easy to make. What's important is after you make it, well, there's 2 important things that need to happen. Once you have a pie crust done, it needs to be baked. Okay, the second important factor when you're making the chocolate cream pie, or we can call it a chocolate pudding pie, is you need to chill it. Once you make the pudding and you add it to the pie shell, you really want that to sit and chill for at least 2 hours before serving it, so it really sets. If you were taking it to, well, actually none of us are really going out right now, but in the future, you're taking that to someone's house for a gathering, you really want to wait till you get to the house to put your Cool Whip topping on there. All right, so I'm feeling hopeful now, so try to use my fingertips. Try a little test right here of bringing this together, and that is coming together. So I should be able to get this into a ball. In the spring, I try to do pies around Pi Day, which I think is March 14th. For all you math nerds out there, or math enthusiasts, I should say. Obviously this year is very different than years past with us being at home. But hey, it's working though. I hope it's working for all of you, making the best of it, right? Good time to get a lot of projects done, spend a lot of quality time with your family. Okay, so there we have it. So this little extra that you have, that's going to go into the garbage, and I am going to stop for just a moment, and when we come back, I am going to checkerboard this and get it ready to roll out. Hi guys, I'm back. Just cleaned up the counter a little bit, and now we're going to continue with number 7, rolling out on a lightly floured surface, and we're going to get everything prepped right now. So you want to lightly flour your counter. Okay. A little extra over here. Okay, I'm going to add that right in the center. Our hands are lightly floured. You know, this is going to get a little messy, but that's okay. It's fun. And we are going to flour our rolling pin. Okay, so don't forget about that extra 1/4 cup. So we're going to get that started in just a moment. Actually, I got to back up. Before we do 7, we have to do 6. So we have our counter lightly floured. We have our ball of dough. And we are going to shape this into a patty first. Okay, so we're going to keep it nice and round. Push my sleeves back a little bit. There we go. Okay. Keep this patty nice and round. And we're going to checkerboard it. Okay. We use the same technique when we made the apple tarts. Oh, let me get this out of the way so you can see what's happening. Okay. Nice and round, checkerboard it with the side of our hand. Make sure it's not sticking to the counter. So in the video, we'll see how this works out for us today. She refrigerated hers, chilled it out to relax the gluten. Let's see what happens. Okay, so now we've checkerboarded it with the side of our hand. We're going to start rolling it out with our rolling pin. Our rolling pin's ready. We always want to start in the center and go to 12, or just always start in the center no matter what direction you're going in. Of course, I like to just start at 12, 3, go 6 and 9. Okay, so we stop now. Make sure it's stays round. Okay, we're doing this by hand, and you want to be able to make sure that it's not sticking to the counter. Okay. let's bring this down. Like I said, it's going to be a little small for this size pan, but we're going to do our best to work with it. Because I did not get to the store this morning. I've been avoiding going to the store and just trying to work with what I have. And you guys know why, right? So, it's working with what I have. Okay, I'm going to keep this nice and round. Make sure this is not sticking. So halfway through the process, my directions on the single pie crust say turn it over, so let's do that. What's going on underneath? If it's sticking, you want to bring some of those remnants out. Okay, we're going to keep this round. Okay, we're going to switch over now to making a one crust pie where you have 4 different photos. And I uploaded that in our Google Classroom last week, right? And the visuals are really helpful. So you're rolling out your pie dough to about 1/8 of an inch using your rolling pin, and we are almost there. Now, you can see if I add this here, and I'm just about done rolling, I'm going to have to transfer. It's going to come up a little short. I really want you to have like this one, like a 1-inch overhang. It would be ideal all the way around. And I would have had that. Again, this is a 10-inch. If I had, look at this. But this is my graham cracker crust. So look at this. If you put this down, right, you'd have 1 inch all the way around. So this would have been perfect. All right, so let's work with what I have. I think I'm done rolling. So I'm going to pick this up to make sure it doesn't stick. Where it starts to crack, if that happens, don't panic. It's easy to patch that up. You can just get touch a little bit of water and then put it on there. All right, now we're going to go to number 2. We're going to fold the dough into quarters and then place it in the pie pan. So let's do that very gently. One side goes over here, then this side goes over here. So we just folded it into quarters. I'm going to clean this area. Really need that dough scraper. Bring my pan over. Tip here is going to go right into the center. And then we're going to unfold it. Again, this pan is 1 inch too big, so this is going to be a little small in here, but at least you get to see all the steps. So I need to shift this over, but I don't want to stretch it because, as I've said before, if you stretch it, I think I've said this, it shrinks. When you bake it, the pie will shrink. So again, this pan is a little too big. Okay, so let's work with this here, and let's pretend that this is all the way around. You should have that extra 1 inch. You should trim the dough to 1 inch. So I don't have anything to trim. I just have this section here to show you. So this would be a 1 inch overhang, and that's what we are hoping. What you should have all the way around, and then you just want to tuck that under, okay? And see how that builds up that side nice and tall? It gives you much more to work with. We don't have that all the way around. I'm going to tuck that down just a little bit more and just work with what we have here for the sake of finishing this pie crust. And again, working with what I have during this time when, you know, you're just not supposed to be running out the store to get one ingredient, you know, or one item. It's just not the smart thing to do. I'm so happy I have plenty of flour here. My husband was able to find some flour. Where did he end up finding in the Berlin Turnpike? Stu Leonard's. Because that first week we were home, actually going into the second week, and I said I want to start student demonstrations. He's like, there's no flour at Stop and Shop. And then he went to another store when he was shopping, and even our local market, and he's like, there's no flour at the market, you're not going to be able to get flour. I'm like, I cannot believe it. Then like the next week, he ended up going out to Stu Leonard's. I forget why they were out there. And we're also just limiting like one person going to the grocery store, right? Because they don't want families. and he was able to find this King Arthur flower for me at Stu Leonard's. Don't know how the stores are stocked now. Haven't been going out too much. Today, I just went out to get the mail. I know I have enough milk to make the pudding mix, to make the chocolate cream pie, or chocolate pudding pie. Okay, so there we have it. Not the prettiest pie you've ever seen. It should be raised up a little higher, but we're going to work with it. Next is the crimping or the fluting. We were talking about this the other day. You had an assignment to turn in for me. Okay, you should know what crimping and fluting means. We're going to shape the edge into scallops or into a U or a V. How do you do that? Well, I'm right-handed. I'm going to start with this area right over here. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to, with my left hand, I'm going to use the index finger on my left hand on the inside of the pie, and then on my right hand, I'm going to use my thumb and my index finger. So you're going to push in with your index finger on the inside on the left, and then I'm going to pinch with my right hand, right, to make that V. And then you want to do that, actually let me start over here. So you want to push in and pinch. Index finger on the inside, move over an inch and pinch. Move over here and pinch. Move over an inch and pinch. And keep on doing that all the way around. Over here. That side's a little weak. Pinch. Pinch. Bummer that I don't have a smaller pan, but it looks so much nicer, but it's still going to taste good. I know I'm going to get a nice flaky crust. I have two now, and this one I made yesterday. Okay. Not sure where I left off, but you get the idea. Okay, and we need to do that. It's functional. It's decorative, but it's also functional because we don't want our pie to slump. Okay, and there we have it. You have your nice U or V shaped. This pie crust looks like it's going to be yummy. A couple of things that I want to say is, number one, if we make the chocolate cream pie, well, we are going to make the chocolate cream pie. I already have this one, took a fork, and for the chocolate cream pie, you want to prick the bottom of the pie crust. Let me get another fork. And bake the shell. So if you're going to use a recipe where you're baking the shell ahead of time, you have to take a fork and then prick the bottom. So that's already done on this pie crust. For custard-like pie, like we're going to make I'm going to use this crust for the pumpkin pie, no need to do that, okay? Because I'm going to make the filling, pour in the pumpkin pie filling, and then put it right into the oven. So the chocolate cream pie requires you to cook the pie crust ahead of time. Well, first this was chilled, then it's going to be baked, and then you cool that, and then we'll add the pudding. That's going to happen tomorrow. I'm taping that. And then also tomorrow I'll use this pie crust to make the pumpkin pie. All right, so there we have it, your single pie crust. And today I showed you also how to shape the edge into scallops along the rim of the pan. All right, awesome. See you guys tomorrow, and we'll see the final results.